Good morning. Good morning. I hope you're all doing really well. It's very cold here in Bend, Oregon, and I don't know what's going on where you are, but yeah, we have cold weather here. Still getting adjusted to coming home after Guatemala, but one of the wonderful things that's happened is I got back on my yoga mat. So I was for 10 days or 12 days in Guatemala with my wonderful beloved Jim and PJ and Stuart Frickman. And PJ was teaching us yoga there. So it was a yoga retreat in Guatemala, and I had a beautiful time, and I started practicing again. It was like kind of a reboot of my yoga practice, which I used to do all the time and even taught. So what did I learn by getting back on my yoga mat? I learned some things, 3 things that relate to what we're always talking about together here, which is connection, physical intimacy for you and your partner, and how we can help ourselves as busy people who live imperfect lives in this realm, in this private and sometimes really difficult realm. So what did I learn when I got back on my mat? So I've been on my mat now. I think this is my 5th or 6th practice since I got home. So yay, it's been exciting. And honestly, I have zero excuse for not going to yoga. If you know me, or if you're a friend of mine here in Bend, you know that I live very close to my yoga studio. So there isn't any kind of a commute issue, no problem with access. I even have these little wooden nickels sitting in my mudroom that get me into yoga if I don't have like an online pass. So no excuses for me. I have a brand new mat, nice and easy. But what I did learn were that a few things. So I learned a few things, 3 things, in fact. So one is it's hard to get started. Last week, I decided I was going to do this thing. I was going to get back on my yoga mat. 6 in the morning, I was going to go to class. And I set my alarm. I got up. Everything was great, except for when I tried to get dressed, there was something wrong. I kind of had a wardrobe malfunction with my yoga bra. I couldn't get it snapped, and I got dressed too late. And so I missed yoga last week. So it's hard to get started. That's the first thing I learned, is it's hard to get started when you're doing that you haven't done for a while. So how does this relate to intimacy? When you haven't had sex with your partner for weeks, months, or years, it's hard to get started. I have heard this so often in my practice that it's very hard to jumpstart, and that's honestly a weird way to think about it. No jumpstarting. To restart, to connect again after a long absence, because not only is it challenging to kind of get yourself in the mindset for it, it's really hard to connect with your partner and somehow work out all of the physicalness and the different pieces of intimacy if you haven't been connected for a long time. And it can feel incredibly awkward, even embarrassing, painful, so many things. So if this is you, if you haven't had sex with your partner for, many months or even years, my suggestion to you is to just start slowly by holding each other and just saying to your partner, I'd like to just be together a little bit. Maybe we could, kind of cuddle and, just have some close time together. When could we work that out? That would be like getting yourself ready for yoga, like I did last week on Friday, or going to a class and just being on your mat and being in savasana or child's pose or some other restful position for the whole time, right? So this is my suggestion to you. The first thing is, because it's hard to get started, start slowly, start very slowly. The second thing is related, and that is to take it easy when you're so if you're on your yoga mat, and you're doing, your yoga practice, take it easy. Even if in the past you were able to do all sorts of poses, right now your body needs you to allow it some grace, to get reaccustomed with your practice. And this is true for your sex life as well. So if you decide you'd like to rekindle your sexual connection with your partner, and your partner agrees to that, and you start out then with kind of some holding or cuddling, that's great. I love that for you. But take it easy and don't jump into penetrative sex if you have a heterosexual relationship, or even if you have a same-sex relationship. Don't do something that's invasive physically for your first or even first few episodes, maybe even your first, several weeks of reconnection. Try to do something that feels tender and comfortable for both of you without jumping into kind of what we call so-called real sex. So take it easy is a second tip. The third tip, the third thing that I learned getting back on my mat that applies to intimacy and sexual connection for you and your partner, is to make time for this reestablishment of your relationship. If you just have some connection with your partner, so you have sex once and that's it, like maybe it's pretty good, and then you don't do anything again for maybe another 2, 3, 4 months, that's like me going to yoga the one time, saying like, yes, I'm back to doing it, I'm back on my mat, and then never going again, right? We need to make time for repeated experiences so that our body continues to reconnect with our breath, that we can get more and more grounded, and that there's an opening in our body. If you're a yoga practitioner, you know that there's, it's a lot of tightness that you might feel when you're first back on your mat, or if you've not done it before, you're not going to feel as comfortable as you will after you've been doing it longer. And this is true for sexual intimacy as well. Now, if you happen to get hurt, so to speak, in your yoga practice or in your relationship, it's important to take your time with healing. So you might jump into your yoga practice or your sexual relationship and somehow hurt each other, hurt your feelings. You might have your feelings hurt. You might hurt your partner's feelings. You might physically feel uncomfortable. This can happen in yoga as well. So if something happens while you're getting back gradually into your practice or into your connection with your partner, then just realize that something has happened. Do what you can to, heal yourself. Let yourself take some time to heal. Talk with your partner about it, and hopefully they'll be as patient and loving as possible during this time. So in conclusion, there are 3 things that I learned getting back on my mat after my trip to Guatemala, my wonderful yoga retreat to Guatemala with PJ and Stuart. The first one is it's hard to get started again. The second one, that it's important to take it easy, either on our mat or in our sex life. The third is it's important to make time for this new experience. And if you're hurt, to please take time for healing and then use the momentum that you have going forward. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.